Hi, I am Steve. You might know me from Steve Facebook Friends and Family. Well, we have a serious matter that we need to discuss and let our people know. That is being a victim of a crime. Being a victim of a crime. What I say is not to be convicted of a crime is we all need to be on the watch and the lookout for different activities taking place in your home. We always have to watch our home and all our surroundings around our home. And we also have to make sure that um, when you get your mail and your boxes, that you take them in right away, because there's people out on the corner looking to see if there's anything they can steal or take from your property. If anybody transports onto your property claiming to be a business, they're supposed to show a proof of ID that who they work for. If anybody comes to your door and they say, "Oh, I work for so and so," and you have a right not to open the door, but you also have a right to call the law enforcement officers and let them handle it. Um, our police has a list of different people that is on the list that are through them, been qualified through them, and they know the safety. We all have to watch our surroundings, even when we are driving our cars each and every day. There's been a lot of road outrages. People blow their horns at one another, and we also have to be careful about that. Flickering our lights, that can mean something is about to go down too, especially if it's in the middle of the daytime. So we always have to be on the aware of suspicious activities each and every day. And if you live in a big town, it's even worse there than it is in a small town. Um, we have to look up on one another, make sure our safety and our well-being. How do we protect ourselves? The best thing to do is how you protect yourself is you don't never attack anybody and not unless they're a threat to you. Now, if you think they're a threat to you and they back you up in the corner and you have no other sources but to fight, then you fight. But if you can get out of this situation, it's the best to run and call your local law enforcement officers because they're more experienced in handling situations like this. Um, we always look over our shoulders, and older folks make sure that those bags are not bulky, that you're carrying like a little small bag where you can keep control of it, and that keeps people from riding along and grabbing the bags. You remember the bags where they used to go down to your, they would they would start from your shoulder and go all the way down to your side. It was on a long strap, and it was easy for somebody to come along and, whoosh, and wipe off with your belongings. And guys, and when we put our pocketbooks in our pocket, we also have to be on the watch that if the pocket has got a button, that will also keep it secure. Or even that, you can wear a pocket up here and put it up here, because that way you can keep more control where it's at, and that way you watch on your personal things, your information in it. And we never should carry certain things in it. The only thing you need to carry is your identification and your um, proof of hospitalization. And we never should keep any more than probably about $50 in our wallet. And there's a store up here. They only keep about $50 in the time lock machine. At one, they can only get $50 out every hour on the hour, and it's on a time lock. So that is um, there for their safety, especially if it is late at night and there's only one person working the store. That so if they did get robbed, they ain't gonna get but like $50 at the most. So these some things that we need to look at, and you need to look at, and it's if you can afford cameras, put around your house to make sure your yard and your home valuables are safe. Then there is all kinds of different kinds of cameras that you can get out there to put on your house. You don't have to belong to any internet provider, and that would help you in these matters as far as your security. Um, Now they have companies out here will install it, but let you know that it is a fee. They will charge you to install it, but you can do your own security. And they also, if you have a doorbell that works on your cell phone, put the thing on there as a doorbell, and it's also in the middle got a camera. So and you can basically wire it up to your cell phone where it comes up, and we have I know some people that have got this system in their home. They can look at everything that's going on in their home, and it's being monitored off their cell phone. So if you got a smartphone or anything like that, basically the cameras will show up on a smartphone. There's an app that you download on, and it'll come up on there. You can get a watch on what's going on around your home while you're not there. So some things that we need to take in mind each and every day, and as far as our security, because there's a lot of scam artists out there that are seem like they are hitting our older folks because I guess we must be all easy targets. And I don't know if you ever remember we had a here in my hometown way back. They had a truck called Mr. Softy. It was nothing but a cone and ice cream whipped up on top, and it was smooth. So they called him Mr. Softy. So I guess they're hitting us because we're softer. So you need to be on aware of suspicious activity, and if you think you might be a victim of this, contact your local law enforcement officers and let them take commands. But by all means, if you have to defend yourself, you get backed up, then you have to do what you have to do to defend you and your family's safety. You have to do what you have to do to defend you and your family's safety. Never leave your keys in your car. Always lock your doors. Take your keys into the house, and as well as lock your house and all your windows. Here in my home, um, we got all the windows locked, and we also got the old-fashioned way. We cut sticks and put a block. Even though the windows got window locks, we still got sticks up in there so they come in. That stick will stop them. They'll stop the window from going all the way up. So there's some ideas that you can take. You just cut you some sticks. Take you some 2x4s and cut them down into 2x2s, and the length of the window, and fit it to the window, and make sure it is secured to the window and to the glass, or to the frame of the glass, and to the frame of the top of the frame, and that will keep predators and from breaking into your house. And some windows have double panes of glass. They don't have single pane like they used to, so they got double pane. So if they break in, it's going to make us twice as much noise, and twice as much noise of a normal crash. So if you got cameras and all up around your house, they're not. And also when you sleep at night, leave a light on, leave something on that indication there. As long as you have a car in the driveway and a light on in the house, even if it's a light off of a television, that usually helps to keep the crime down, and it keeps them from. Well, you want to let the let them know that you're home, and they're not going to bother you, and they're not going to bother you. Chances are they're just going to slide on by and go to the next place. So these are some safety tips that you need to keep when you're riding, when you're at home, or if you happen to be in a business where your car is in a underground garage. Look around you when you come off the elevator or come out the door. Look over the sides of you and make sure that you're safe and you don't see anybody before you make your walk. As you're walking, you always keep looking on your sides for attackers, and always keep those purses where you know that nobody can come up on the side of you and attack you and run off with these pocketbooks. The old pocketbooks used to have long straps on them, and they put them on their shoulder, and they run off with them. So that gives a good chance for that to happen in anywhere you go to. You can be walking down the street or anything like that. You can be walking down the street. So basically, take that. Um, just go to one of these little pouches around your side and put everything in the put your personal ID and your little information you got in that um, in that little pouch. It goes around you. There's a pouch that goes around the front down here, and make sure you put everything in there. You don't want anything hanging down here, so basically they'll run off and take that from you. So it's hard for them to get one of them off. They would have to attack you to get that off. So that's a good chance for you to make your getaway, and they say it's going to be a hard target. They're not going to mess with you. So and always check your door. When somebody comes ringing you don't know, always look out the window. If there's nobody you know, you have a right not to let them in, or you have a right not to open your door. Or if you do, you ask them for their ID, who they work for. They're supposed to have you name of the company on their shirt and an ID badge stating who they work for. If there's anything other than that, you need to report it to the local authorities, and they will handle the situation. We're trying to keep everybody as safe as possible with these things here. Now, if you get calls on the phone, people claiming to be working for so and so, these sometimes can be fraud calls. And stay tuned for your local news and authorities on. They'll pop up and tell you that there's a fraud evangelist going around and calling people, and all he wants to do is get your personal information and take you to clean you up, clean you out. So let's make it as hard as we can for these people to get this information, and make it hard as possible. Make it as easy on you as hard on them as possible, and especially our ladies out here that they're by themselves. So just be unaware of suspicious activity, and take training classes. Take you some training classes on it, how to defend yourself. There's a lot of martial arts classes that you can basically defend yourself without having a weapon. And here's the thing with the weapon: if you even though somebody breaks into your home or backs you up and Um, depending on how the situation is, you could lose your weapon and you could be facing jail time for it. You would have to prove that your life was in danger to the judge and the jury, that um, you'd have to prove it to them. And you'd also have to have a camera proving that he was making the attack on you. So a lot of our police officers now are wearing body cams, and for that reason, so if they get attacked. Um, we had a case here a few years ago back where a guy walked into the local store. They claimed he had stole something, and basically it ended up in the parking lot where the officer shot the guy, and he ended up going to jail. He ended up losing his job and going to jail for this incident. So there's more ways better than that to protect yourself. Um, Martial arts, you um, um, classes will help you, and also take in mind you got a deadly weapon on you, and that is your foot. You can take your foot and you can basically take your knee and hit it to his stomach, the upper part, and his middle, and then hit him in the weakest point. That's where the kneecap is. It goes from the foot down, up from the kneecap down to the foot. That is the weak point. Whereas in a man, the weak part is in his middle section. So when you hit him in these three places with your foot, most of our ladies carry pointed toe shoes. Had some carry the elevated shoes with the like spikes on them, and that makes a good, easy target for a weapon and defend yourself. And and there's no fingerprints on that neither. So you don't put no fingerprints. You can't get no fingerprints off of anything like that, but they can get a fingerprint off of a weapon. So they take it back to their lab, and they'll charge you with everything with the time of somebody else's killing. So I'm sharing some things with you through Facebook and through YouTube this morning. This is a recorded message to let our people know that to be on aware, especially our older folks. Our older people are getting hit hard with the inflation, and there's also a lot of scam going on. So the best thing to do is when you get a scam call and you think it's a scam call, somebody calling up to be working for somebody, um, hang up on them, especially if it's from the Social Security Administration building. They don't call you. They'll send you a letter first, and they'll say they need to get some information from you. Then you get on the phone and you call Social Security and you ask them that, hey, did you just call me? And they'll either say either yes or no and explain that, make sure that you you get a call like this from them. Report it to the uh, there's a number that you can call to support that. It's 1-800-772-1213, and report all the fraud Benjamins to them, and they'll tell you how there's a website that you can go on and you report it, especially people that are calling to be Social Security workers. They don't call you, they'll send you a letter. They'll either tell you to come in to the office, or you can call them. And if anybody calls up and say they're so and so and they want your bank account number or telephone number or all of this, please don't give it to them, because there is somebody out there um, trying to steal your identity. Trying to steal your identity. So just us folks, we need to be aware of what's going on around us. And I just wanted to share with my friends and family today that be careful out there. The way the world is going right now. Um, Used to be way back when we was a kid growing up, you could leave your door open in your house, you could leave your keys in the car, and you could come back. Basically, it would all be there. But now, if you leave it open, you don't know who's going to be in the house with you. So that's how bad it's becoming. And and there's also something else that we need to remind our folks of. Most of our small towns now have got people that are hanging out on the side of the road and asking for a handout. One says, I'll work for leftovers," and um, be on the lookout. They're not supposed to come out into the middle of the intersection or stop the cars. Now they can come up and ask you money through the window as long as you're stopped. But if it um, but if it becomes a problem with the them being and blocking traffic, that becomes another problem there. So um, the best solution is to if they do get approached by one, is to tell them there's resources that they can go to get help, and so they don't have to be on the corner like this. We've got the Union Mission, we've got the Salvation Army, and there's all kinds of resources. The Union Mission is here in my hometown, so you can basically go through them. They got a men's shelter, a ladies' shelter, and a child's shelter. You can only stay here 45 days, and you can stay there. I think the longest you can stay there 45 days until you get yourself straightened out. So until you get your foot back on the surface, well, get your feet back on high ground again. So we just wanted to share some things, and when you're driving, um, do be careful of other people running in and out in front of you, and just drive the speed limit, and just drive the speed limit, do like the law tells you to do, and abide by the speed limit. And when you come up on a situation, just go on by it, try to get out of it, try to get out of the well, it's like when you come up on an accident, you try to get by it as safely and as quickly as you can, even though that the traffic will possibly backed up, people will be irritated, and they'll be almost to the point where they're about ready to come out and start fighting. So the solution is to get out of it, not unless you're backed up into something you got to get out. So it's kind of like the thing called Achan, when Achan is in the camp where all got to stop and get him out of the ditch. So now the Achan would be you. So you got to stop and get yourself out of that ditch and get yourself back on the road. And also too, if you're stalled out on the road and you need help, the state authority has a number that you can call and for emergency help, and to get you safely going. If you can't be safely going on your own, then it has to be towed. Then you'll have to tow it to get it off the road. Road is no place to be when there's a lot of traffic, especially as flowing. There's been a lot of people had been hurt or killed as they were changing flat tires on the end of the road. So pull your car over to a safe and well lit area where you'll be seen, and you need help, just call 911 or call your local your local garage, and they'll send somebody out to help you, assist you with those needs. If you run out of gas or anything like that on the interstate, um, you can call 511, and they'll tell you where to go there. Not only you can get traffic information and where your backup is at and where you can stay out of that area. Um, they have things like that where they call in for, you can call in for assistance. Assistant needs a person at such and such marker. We will explain what the marker is in a minute, and tell me that you're at marker so and so, and you need some assistance. My car is broke and my car won't run, and usually it's probably out of gas or it's got some kind of an internal problem there. And the land marker is every so many feet you'll see like 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. These are the markers that they locate you in. So if you call and tell them that you're in mile marker 10 and we're before this exit, and they'll know how to find you. So they'll know how to find you. And also, most phones now have a protection on it that they know where you at by when you call in. There's a map on it that shows them where you're at and where your location is. So where your location is at, and if you break down, you call the number, that information will come up on their end, and they'll track your number down, and they'll know, they probably pretty much pinpoint where you're at. And the same thing at our homes too. They take a map and satellite map, and they find out the foot image. So they pretty much know where we're at, and they do these things too for our safety and to make sure we're all safe. Well, whatever you do today, I hope you will be safe and be careful out there. And I am here to remind you to keep praying for our nation, and keep praying for our country and our national leaders, that as this inflation continues on, things will get worse before it gets better. So we need to pray and seek God's face today. You have a wonderful day, and do be careful out there, and do keep all these in mind today if you go out. We'll see you again on the next video.